Byron York joins me, chief political correspondent, Washington Examiner, and a Fox News contributor. Byron, good day to you. Going to take you back.
Good morning, Bill.
8 days ago, Newt Gingrich, he was in the throes of impeachment with Bill Clinton, and it cost him. Here's what he told me a week ago.
We had some of this problem, frankly, 97, 98, dealing with Bill Clinton, because after a while, people render a judgment. They're not going to think this is impeachable. They're going to come to think it's all political, and they're going to come to think that it's all destructive.
Well, in the end, he concluded that was a mistake. But you say Pelosi's comments were a surprise. Go ahead.
Well, they were a surprise because the impeachment machine has been up and running on Capitol Hill. Just a week ago, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, and that's the committee that originates articles of impeachment, chairman said it is very clear that President Trump is guilty of obstructing justice. That was the same charge leveled against Richard Nixon and Bill Clinton. And Chairman Nadler basically said the only reason the House was not impeaching now is that they were organizing evidence and that they had to get a communications campaign to convince the American people that impeachment was the right thing to do. So clearly, all the preparations were being made. So Pelosi herself knew that this was a big deal because she said, I'm going to make some news now.
I don't know
she
how,
certainly did.
Yeah, I don't know how this is going to go over. Steny Hoyer, he pretty much said, we've got 62 new Democratic members, meaning freshmen, not 3. And that was a direct reference to Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and Ocasio-Cortez, who seem to get most of the attention these days there in the House.
Well, and what he was saying is that a number of those were elected in districts that are not at all like AOC's. They're much more, some of them were districts that Donald Trump won, and they don't really want to pursue impeachment. There's a lot of moderate Democrats who feel that they were elected to do other things like work on health care and the economy and not impeachment. And Pelosi has actually given them cover to now say, well, the Speaker has made her decision on that. And let me say one more thing about this impeachment and what Newt Gingrich said. Republicans tried to impeach, well, they did impeach Bill Clinton after he was reelected. And, of course, they were still accused of being partisan the whole time. If Democrats were to pursue impeachment now, it would be during a reelection campaign, which would just multiply the problems of these partisanship accusations.
In the middle of that campaign, you find the DNC in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, of all places. Here's Tom Perez, head of the DNC, making his case for that decision.
While the choice of Milwaukee does not guarantee success, I will say this. Where you hold a convention is a very strong statement of your values. It's a very strong statement of who we are as a party and who and what we're fighting for.
22,000 votes, Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton in Wisconsin.
I think the message here from the Democratic Party is, Wisconsin, we're not going to forget about you this time. Clearly, Wisconsin is one of the states that Hillary Clinton did not visit, did not campaign in the final days of the 2016 campaign because Democrats thought they had it in the bag. And Donald Trump, of course, stunned the Democratic Party by then winning Pennsylvania and then adding Wisconsin and Michigan for good measure. And clearly this is an indication that Democrats know they messed up on that. And it was not just the lack of appeal of Hillary Clinton. It was also that the party was not paying enough attention to the industrial upper Midwest.
It's a good town, and we'll see them there. Hope they come to Fox, too, by the way, for that long-awaited debate. It's not the end of the conversation, Byron. More to come on that. Thank you, sir. Nice to see you today.
Thank you, Bill.
You bet. Thank you.
Fox News alert. They warned it was coming, and now it is official. Attorneys for Covington Catholic student Nicholas Sandmann just filed a bombshell lawsuit against CNN for a whopping $275 million. They allege vicious and direct attacks on their client, seen in this viral encounter with Native American Nathan Phillips. The lawsuit comes less than 1 month after the same attorney sued the Washington Post for $250 million. Here now exclusively is Todd McMurtry, co-counsel for Nicholas Sandmann. Todd, thank you for coming on the program tonight. So first off, this is breaking news. We're just now bringing this to our audience. What can you tell us?
Well, we just filed the lawsuit today in the federal district court in Kentucky, the Eastern District. And as you said earlier, it is a significant lawsuit seeking $75 million in compensatory damages and $200 million in punitive damages from CNN.
What specifically does this lawsuit highlight about what we are seeing in that video and what happened in the minutes and hours that followed?
Well, what CNN's tagline is facts first, and what we believe their reporting was in this circumstance was lies first, cover-up second, and facts not yet determined by that organization. So the difference between this lawsuit and the other lawsuit that we have filed is that CNN is a very significant media organization with a much broader reach than, say, the Washington Post. It has Twitter followers of 41 million people. It published 4 videos, 9 online articles that were tweeted out. So that's millions and millions and millions of repetitions of the lies and falsehoods that CNN spread. And
what was the impact on Nicholas Sandmann, this high school student?
Well, we've talked about the impact on Nicholas Sandmann a number of times, and it is significant. Nicholas Sandmann was a 16-year-old young man who had a perfect reputation. He was loved by his parents, respected at his school, and had many good friends at Covington Catholic High School. So he was a person that was doing very well in life, and due to his strong character, he still is. But nevertheless, his character has now been determined by the lies issued by CNN. So the facts were not first, the lies were.
And this, of course, wasn't just what went out on television that day. It wasn't just what went out in print media. It was also about a social media impact that we all witnessed. And I know that you were talking about in this lawsuit, online, Twitter, 7 a.m., the network was retweeting this short snippet that so many got to know when this story was starting to unfold.
Correct. Sending out a short snippet like that at 7 a.m. after the event happens is totally irresponsible, completely negligent, and in our view, subject to punitive damages. They did this without any reasonable investigation. They took something straight off Twitter that had been, in essence, manipulated so that it told one story, and they reported it as the truth.
Is there any choice that you're giving the network at this point to respond, to limit potential damages?
We have issued an opportunity for CNN to retract. They did not retract within the timeline provided for by Kentucky law, so their opportunity to retract is now passed. So we will proceed for our lawsuit for both compensatory and punitive damages.
So there's no opportunity still for them to respond?
No, not under the law. If they try to do it now under the law, it's too late. They can certainly do that if they choose to on their own accord, but it would not affect the lawsuit from a legal standpoint.
Of course, it was the Washington Post, and now you're outlining an even bigger sum of money in this particular lawsuit against CNN. Are there others that will follow here?
Certainly. We're looking at other potential defendants. We plan to file a suit every few weeks or month. We probably have at least 10 top targets in the media and individuals, some of whom were people that were involved in Twitter attacks. But certainly there are defendants to come, others that will be given an opportunity to retract those statements. And we'll give them that opportunity first, so they'll have an opportunity to retract.
So do those outlets already know about this? I mean, are you naming names? Can you tell us tonight?
As to whom we are looking at, who we think crossed the line,
yeah.
Certainly we're looking very closely at NBC. We're looking very closely at AP. We're looking very closely at HBO for the conduct of Bill Maher. We're looking at some of the people who, like Kathy Griffin, who sent out these horrible tweets that are called doxing, where you like to say to somebody, go get their name and address, with the idea being that somebody's going to show up and possibly do physical harm to them.
How do those lawsuits compare, and we'll wrap it up here, how do those lawsuits compare to the ones we've seen so far?
We think that we have identified the Washington Post first because it was first out of the gate, and CNN second because of the scope and the significant things that it said that were false. So we do feel that we've hit the top 2 first, but the others are very close in line. This is a group that did very much, the group of defendants and potential defendants did very much the same thing.
All right, Todd McMurtry, we appreciate you coming on the program tonight.
Thank you, Sandra.
Jussie Smollett is scheduled to return to this Chicago courthouse on Thursday, where he's expected to enter a plea on those 16 new felony charges of giving a false police report. And we now know that a judge will allow a camera inside the courtroom for Thursday's hearing. Inside the courthouse today, Jussie Smollett once again arrived with his siblings and an assistant and also an attorney from Mark Geragos' law firm. That attorney told the judge today that Jussie Smollett wants the cameras in the courtroom so that the public can hear what Smollett calls the truth.
There has been a lot of misinformation in this case that has been presented as fact and evidence against Mr. Smollett, which is demonstrably false. We welcome cameras in the courtroom so that the public and the media can see the actual evidence.
Smollett's attorney says they think there is a lack of evidence in this case to convict the actor, and high-profile criminal defense attorney Mark Geragos is scheduled to be in this courthouse for the first time with Smollett on Thursday. Shep.
And those attorneys had to get special permission just to represent him? Why is that?
Well, Mark Geragos and at least one of his associates are not licensed to practice here in the state of Illinois, so they did submit documentation requesting special permission to represent Jussie Smollett here in Illinois, and today a judge did approve their request.